Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here is her story. Hi, Ollie. I would like to share my experience anonymously for your audience and speak about darker stuff of my parents. I'm not a native English speaker, but I hope my writing is understandable. My parents are non-smokers and non-drinkers. They look perfect to the outside world. My father is a very popular artist, especially among children. My mom was always controlling and possessive. I wanted to exchange her with someone else when I was a child. She constantly complained how much she worked for me with phrases like, "I'm washing your clothes, I'm cooking for you." She compared me with children of her friends. His room is always in order. She compared me also to my siblings. They are always willing to help me, preparing lunch. She mocked my behavior by imitating it. Nowadays, she understands her mistakes in upbringing by claiming that, as a mom, she wasn't strict enough. She has always yelled or at least spoken in a tone that irritated me to the core. So then I raised my voice, and then she immediately told me to stop yelling and denied her yelling. When I lived in my parents' house in my early 20s, she was unsatisfied with my behavior. She said to me that if my father would have treated her as I had, she would have left him. Ugh. I think this is a male. I think this is a male. And if it is, your mother, like that's, well, regardless, it's your child. What does that mean? Like, if you treated me the way I would have left him? I'm not married to you. You're my mother. Oh, to even make that fucking comparison, man. Before knowing no contact, she still liked to slap my butt slightly, which gave me an unpleasant feeling. I violently grabbed her hands after that, and she immediately started to play victim role. My father threatened me that the gypsies would come to me when I didn't take a shower a lot as a teenager. I had only one F in the whole high school, and when I got it, he suggested to me to be a janitor. In the adult, so now, all right, so yeah, I'm pretty convinced this is a guy. That mother putting her hands on you bullshit. My mother used to fucking grab on. Don't put your fucking hands on me. Keep your fucking dirty hands to yourself, you sick bitch. I'm glad you're dead. But I digress. Gypsies. I was threatened with gypsies too. Now that's funny. My mother, on my mother's side of the family, they had this fucking obsession with gypsies. Gypsies are going to come take you. They're going to steal you if you're not good. There was always threatened with fucking gypsies constantly. I didn't even know what the fuck a gypsy was. It wasn't as a teenager. It was as a little kid. In adult age, he manipulated me to work for him, something that I didn't want to do, using phrases that he had done the same thing as well when he was at the start of his career. 1 week before going no contact, he said to me that I have a disorder and that I am an autist. I guess that's autism. Both parents were also physically abusive to me in childhood. My mother used to slap my mouth sometimes when she didn't like the tone of my voice or the words that came out of my mouth. Yep. I'm not a very communicative person nowadays. The worst tortures that I suffered from them in childhood were when I didn't like to eat certain foods, when there was some work to be done, and when we visited our relatives. I remember one time I was so disgusted with certain foods they forced me to eat that I cried. When I cried, I was accused of acting. At early childhood, I liked to help them at work, but then I started to feel used. I had a thought that my parents had me just so they could use me as a workforce. So I started to become more lazy. I started refusing to work, and my parents became more mean towards me. The third thing that really bothered me were when we visited our relatives. There were really long and there were no children around, so it was exhaustingly boring time. There were no toys, no interesting things for me for some hours. I was just sitting by the table between my mother and father, who were talking to my uncle and his spouse on the other side of the table. It was incredibly boring, and I didn't like listening to those conversations anyway. Sometimes my cousin showed up after some time. He noticed that I was bored, so he asked me if I wanted to go watch television. He was the only one who seemed to care about my well-being at the time. Well, yeah, then, because they're forcing you. They could give a shit that you're a kid. They force you to be like a little adult. They torture you like that. It's all part of the torture. Making it all about them. Nowadays, that cousin is the only one of my relatives who was diagnosed with a mental disorder, bipolar. Now they want to diagnose me. But what about his parents and my parents? Are they mentally sane? I would like to hear your opinion on that. You seem really good at diagnosing people, so I hope I have provided you with enough information so that you can see my parents for what they are. I'm not saying I was perfect and an easy child to get along with. I was certainly a picky eater, often lazy, and violent and easily irritated child. But my cousin has always seemed to me to be more sane than our parents. I would like to hear from you how serious their abuse was, or am I just too sensitive? I live only 6 miles away from them, but went no contact with them 4 months ago with an email in which I say they are the disorder that I have, that they should find another son, because I didn't want to play that role anymore. Looking forward to hearing from you. Best regards, Anonymous. This is what I'm going to tell you, Anonymous. This is what these narcissistic family dynamics like to do. Anybody who steps out, they want to label them crazy. They want to put a crazy label so you don't have to be listened to. There's a reason why you were angry as a child, okay? Because your mother was being inappropriate with you and abusing you, physically violent, threatening you with gypsies. I mean, it never ends. I mean, you're acting out. That's not on you. It's on them, your violence, your laziness of not wanting to do anything, of feeling like you're being used. That's why they want to because you were already fighting back as a child, and now that you're no contact, they really want to label you. So they really want to hang a label on you, where the label's on them. Your mother's obviously a borderline, and your father's a narcissist. No, it's not a diagnosis, because I can't diagnose anyone. That's just my opinion of what I've dealt with. This is what I will tell you. Your mother and my mother sound like they were cut from the same cloth. They're the same woman. Sexually inappropriate, making you into some kind of weird son husband, and violent. Everything you called yourself, she is. A picky eater, so what? A lot of kids. I was a picky eater. I'll tell you that your mother and my mother are cut from the same cloth. Inappropriate, violent, screwing with your head, making threats to you as a child of having you taken away. That's who your mother is. That's who my mother was. Okay? The best thing I could tell you, the best advice I could give you is to keep your no contact and stay far away. Don't acknowledge them, ever. Because all they're going to do is try to hang the crazy label on you. And if you ever, when the biggest mistake you can ever make is calling yourself crazy and buying into it. Because once they got you doing that, nobody's got to listen to you ever again. So, hope that helps. Thank you for your contribution and your story, Anonymous. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comments section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys. Without you, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.